Welcome to the channel, where mystery meets money, and the smallest coin can carry the weight of millions, and today we are diving headfirst into one of the most intriguing, unbelievable, and jaw-dropping stories in American numismatic history, a tale that sounds like fiction yet is rooted in real auctions, rare minting mishaps, and a frenzy of collectors who would stop at nothing to possess a single piece of seemingly ordinary copper-coated zinc, the 1999 1-cent coin, a coin so rare and valuable due to its array of minting errors and anomalies that one particularly special specimen has stunned the collecting world with a jaw-dropping valuation of $3 million, a value that makes people stare in disbelief at their pocket change, wondering if a life-changing treasure might be hiding in plain sight. And to truly grasp why this humble penny has reached such astonishing worth, we must delve into every possible dimension of its creation, its flaws, the story behind its minting, and the broader context of numismatic fascination, because this is not just about one coin, it is about a perfect storm of historical, mechanical, and economic circumstances that converge to transform a mass-produced item into an elite collectible with mythical status. So let's begin by setting the scene in the final year of the 20th century, 1999. A year that carried a heavy sense of transition as the United States geared up for the new millennium. The Y2K bug was causing panic across the globe. Digital and mechanical systems were under scrutiny, and in the world of coinage, the US Mint was already preparing for monumental shifts in design, especially as the year 2000 would usher in the first of the state quarters and a variety of new numismatic projects. But what many did not realize at the time was that within the production floors of the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a quiet series of slip-ups and oversights would result in one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever struck. And what makes the 1999 penny particularly mysterious and valuable is not just one single error, but rather a complex cocktail of potential mistakes that collectors have identified, including but not limited to off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, mule errors, and transitional planchette errors, each of which by themselves can make a coin valuable. But when two or more are found on the same specimen, the rarity and value increase exponentially, and in the case of the 1999 cent that achieved the legendary $3 million valuation, multiple errors came together in such a rare confluence that experts and collectors alike were left speechless. And to understand the magnitude of this, let's break down each of these possible mistakes and explore how they elevate a coin's value, beginning with the ever-famous double die error, where the die used to strike the coin has been impressed twice with slight misalignment, creating a shadow-like doubling effect on the coin's design elements, especially on the obverse text such as Liberty Indiana God We Trust, or the date. And in 1999 there were reports of a number of coins showing minor to moderate doubling, which were often overlooked until the discovery of a spectacular example with extremely pronounced doubling, especially visible on the Lincoln bust and date, creating what is now known as the 1999 double die obverse. But what truly sets this particular coin apart is that the doubling was not the only anomaly, as it was also found to be a transitional error, meaning it was struck on a planchette intended for a different year or composition. And although all 1999 cents were supposed to be struck on the zinc-based planchette with copper plating introduced in 1982, one rare example surfaced that had the weight and metallurgical composition of a solid copper planchette, possibly left over from a previous year and fed accidentally into the coining press, resulting in a 1999 cent that not only bore the wrong metal composition but also exhibited a very distinct red toning not usually seen in modern zinc cents, which further puzzled experts until metallurgical testing confirmed the anomaly. And on top of that, this same specimen featured a minor yet visible off-center strike, which adds yet another layer of rarity. And off-center strikes happen when the planchette is not properly seated in the striking chamber, leading to part of the design being cut off or skewed. And although small off-center errors are common, when combined with other rare errors on the same coin, they become extremely desirable. And still, this wasn't the end of the error cascade, as the reverse of the coin showed signs of a die clash, a situation where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, leaving ghostly impressions of one side on the other, resulting in an eerie doubling effect on Lincoln's profile visible on the reverse fields of the Lincoln Memorial. And yet, most fascinating of all was the discovery of microscopic die cracks along the rim and lettering, indicating that the dies used were heavily worn or flawed, creating a spiderweb-like pattern that almost resembles a coin fracturing under pressure. And while die cracks alone don't raise a coin's value dramatically, their presence alongside the other mistakes turned this coin into a perfect storm of rarity. And another anomaly that drew massive attention was the possibility that this particular coin was A mule error, which occurs when obverse and reverse dies from different denominations are paired together, something almost unheard of in modern sense, but in rare and specific circumstances, accidents like a cent obverse being struck with a dime reverse die have occurred, and in the context of the 1999 cent, while no full mule errors were officially confirmed for public release, rumors persist of a few test strikes that left the mint due to internal mishandling, with collectors and whistleblowers claiming to have seen Lincoln's head paired with a Roosevelt torch reverse, though such a coin has never surfaced publicly, adding fuel to the legend and prompting every collector to double-check their 1999 change, and further intensifying the mystique is the fact that 1999 was a year of enormous minting volume, with billions of cents struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, meaning that the existence of any error coin from this year suggests either significant oversight or an intentional release, the latter of which, if true, would catapult the value of such a coin even higher due to its scandalous origin, and conspiracy theories have swirled within collector circles about rogue employees smuggling out test strikes or deliberately feeding error-prone planches into presses to create ultra-rarities, and although these claims are difficult to prove, they add a layer of intrigue that inevitably affects market demand, and in the case of the $3 million specimen, the provenance is equally compelling, as it first surfaced at a private auction where a renowned numismatist, whose name remains confidential due to privacy contracts, reportedly outbid multiple museum curators and private investors to acquire the piece, leading to a paper trail that confirmed the coin's legitimacy through multiple rounds of third-party authentication by the top grading companies, including PCGS and NGC, both of whom agreed on the uniqueness of the coin, assigning it a grade of MS68 with full red designation and notation of multiple error types, a grade so high and so unusual for a coin riddled with flaws that it instantly caught headlines across collector forums, numismatic magazines, and even mainstream news outlets, sparking a global search for similar specimens and igniting what some now refer to as the 1999 penny gold rush, where thousands of amateur collectors began hoarding their 1999 cents in hopes of striking it rich, yet few realized how extraordinarily rare the perfect storm of this $3 million coin really was, and to put it in perspective, experts estimate that fewer than 3 such coins exist, and possibly only one in pristine mint state condition, meaning the odds of finding another are astronomically slim, and yet the dream persists, fueled by stories of coins found in old jars, estate sales, and dusty boxes in attic corners. And the 1999 penny has become emblematic of that dream, a symbol of how something seemingly worthless can transform into $1 million treasure under just the right circumstances, and beyond the mechanical and procedural errors, the 1999 cent carries symbolic value as well, representing the end of an era and the close of a century in American history, and collectors often assign premium value to millennial transition years, especially coins struck at the cusp of technological and design changes. And while the public was distracted by Y2K panic and the launch of new digital currencies, old-fashioned physical coins were quietly gaining new significance, and now, a quarter-century later, that significance has fully matured into market value, and so when we talk about the $3 million penny, we are not just talking about a mistake, we are talking about a miracle of missteps, a harmony of human error and machine flaw that came together at precisely the right moment to create something priceless. And even though most 1999 pennies are worth face value, a few bear the marks of this legend. And if you find one, especially if it has visible doubling, abnormal color, off-center design, or strange reverse features, don't ignore it, because you might be holding the next $1 million miracle, and collectors advise carefully weighing your 1999 cents to see if any have the heavier copper planchet weight of 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams. Examining them under a 10x loupe for die clashes, cracks, or unusual design elements, and always seeking professional grading before selling. Next! Today we're diving deep into one such mind-bending journey that could quite literally start in your pocket change, because hidden in plain sight among the billions of pennies minted each year lies the astonishing story of the 2015 D1 cent coin, a coin so deceptively ordinary at first glance yet harboring within its copper-plated zinc shell a treasure trove of errors, anomalies, and striking imperfections that have elevated its perceived value to an unbelievable $2,315 on the collector's market. And the wild part is, this isn't just about one coin, it's about an entire subset of overlooked cents that have left collectors scrambling and historians intrigued, all because a series of minting miscalculations, production slip-ups, and die anomalies came together in just the right way to create what might be one of the most sought-after modern Lincoln pennies in recent times. And to fully appreciate how this came to be, we must first understand the context of 2015 itself, a year when the Denver Mint, already one of the most prolific mints in the United States, was producing billions of coins, including over 4.2 billion Lincoln cents, each bearing the signature "Death Mint" mark below the date, and in the chaos of mass production, a few critical moments of human error, combined with machine fatigue and wear, led to some very specific and incredibly rare varieties, beginning with the double die obverse. An error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin's front design becomes misaligned during preparation and results in noticeable doubling, especially around the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust or the date itself, with certain 2015 D cents exhibiting this doubling so clearly that it's visible to the naked eye and confirmed by high magnification inspection. And when these doubled features are dramatic and sharp rather than minor or machine-like, collectors go absolutely wild, because it confirms a true double die rather than a mechanical doubling, and some of these verified examples have sold for hundreds, even thousands, depending on clarity and condition, and that's just the beginning, because other known errors in 2015 D cents include off-center strikes, where the coin's design isn't aligned with the planchette, causing parts of Lincoln's profile or the rim lettering to be missing or shifted dramatically to one side, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, particularly if the date and mint mark remain visible, these coins can command major premiums. And there's also the matter of die cracks and cuds, both of which are minting defects caused by damaged dies that result in raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the finished coin, with cuds forming when part of the die breaks away completely and leaves an unstruck, blank, blob-like area on the coin, most often near the rim, and these errors, especially large, dramatic ones, are enthusiastically chased by error coin collectors, driving up the value substantially. And then there's the incredibly rare transitional planchette error, which happens when a coin intended to be minted on one type of metal accidentally gets struck on an outdated or incorrect planchette, and while no official records confirm a large batch of such coins from 2015, isolated incidents and rumors in the collector world have led some to believe that a tiny handful of 2015 D cents may have been struck on copper-based blanks instead of the standard copper-plated zinc, and if authenticated, typically through weight tests and advanced metallurgical analysis, such coins can be worth thousands on rarity alone, especially if combined with other visible errors like doubling or off-center strikes. And what makes the 2015 D penny particularly notable among collectors is not just the possibility of one specific error but the sheer variety of known mistakes that occurred in this mintage, from struck-through errors where foreign material like grease or wire gets between the die and planchette and causes gaps or smears in the design, to misaligned dies that create distorted rims or a tilted appearance on the struck coin, to examples where parts of the design are missing or ghosted due to insufficient pressure or clogged dies, all of which can affect the coin's visual impact and rarity. And what's perhaps most fascinating is how many of these errors were discovered not by expert numismatists in fancy labs but by everyday people examining their pocket change or rolls from the bank. And upon close inspection, sometimes with a jeweller's loupe or smartphone macro lens, saw something strange, something off, and when that anomaly was posted on online collector forums or submitted to grading services like PCGS or NGC, it occasionally turned out to be a verified mint error, and suddenly that 1-cent piece was worth hundreds or even thousands. And many 2015 D error coins that now carry premium value have similar origin stories, plucked from obscurity by curious minds who took the time to look closer, and the power of third-party authentication cannot be understated here, because when these coins are graded and encapsulated by respected services, especially with error designations like DDO, double die obverse, or struck 15% off-center, they gain legitimacy in the eyes of collectors, investors, and auction houses alike, with high-grade examples fetching several times more than raw or ungraded counterparts, and for the 2015 D penny, mint state, MS, grades of 65 or higher are already rare without any error, but when a coin with a verified mint error is graded MS67 or MS68, it can command thousands due to both condition rarity and error uniqueness, and this is how we arrive at the jaw-dropping figure of $2,315 for a single 2015 D 1-cent piece, not because every 2015 D penny is worth that much, but because specific combinations of errors, conditions, and authentication have created a perfect storm of collectability. And beyond these technical factors, there's also a psychological one at play, because coin collecting, at its core, is about the thrill of discovery, the romance of rarity, and the idea that something mundane could hold extraordinary value, and that emotional element, the excitement of possibly owning a one-of-a-kind mistake from a year that saw over 4 billion pennies minted, is what drives demand, fuels bidding wars, and elevates the stories of coins like this to near mythical levels within the hobbyist community. And it's also worth noting that some 2015 D-cents with dramatic errors have surfaced at major auctions like Heritage and Stack's Bowers, where the documentation, bidding history, and hammer prices provide a reliable trail of how these coins were evaluated and sold, lending further legitimacy and market validation to their high values. And this has a ripple effect, encouraging more collectors to go treasure hunting in penny rolls, coin jars, and even in pocket change, knowing that with the right combination of luck, knowledge, and persistence, they too might stumble upon a coin that rewrites their understanding of what a cent can be worth. And while these high-value coins are indeed rare, they're not impossible to find, and that possibility alone keeps the hunt alive, especially among new collectors and young enthusiasts entering the field thanks to social media and YouTube, where videos showcasing coin roll hunts, error spotting guides, and dramatic value reveals reach millions of viewers and inspire more eyes to look closely at every coin. And if you're watching this video now, you're already part of that journey, part of the worldwide network of eye scanning, spotting, questioning, and ultimately discovering the hidden value in these small copper discs. And it's that collective curiosity, that hunger to uncover something truly special, that has given coins like the 2015 D-era cent their soaring value, not just as metal, but as a symbol of discovery. And with every passing year, the known examples grow ever more desirable, especially as error coins become certified, catalogued, and locked away in private collections or museum displays, decreasing the supply and raising the stakes for the next lucky finder. And so the next time you see a penny lying ignored on the sidewalk or resting at the bottom of your wallet, stop and take a second look, because you never know if you might be holding a $2,315 piece of American minting history, forged not in intention but in imperfection, a beautiful mistake that has defied all expectations and carved a place for itself in the ever-evolving story of modern coinage. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of high-value coins hiding in plain sight, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories where forgotten cents become unforgettable fortunes. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible world of the 1991 United States 1-cent coin, a humble penny to most, but for collectors, a potential goldmine, with certain examples reaching valuations of up to $33,004 due to fascinating minting errors, rare varieties, and production anomalies that transform an ordinary Lincoln cent into a numismatic jackpot. And this story isn't just about one coin, it's about the mysteries behind the minting process, the tiny imperfections that escape quality control, the rare combination of human and machine error, and how such mistakes create some of the most sought-after coins in the collecting world. So get ready, because what you're about to hear may change the way you look at your spare change forever, as we dissect what makes the 1991 1-cent coin not only special but sometimes staggeringly valuable in the eyes of seasoned collectors and auction houses alike. And it all begins with the fact that 1991 was a year of high mintage for the Lincoln cent, with billions of these coins minted across the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, which would normally suggest that the 1991 penny is among the least valuable coins in circulation. And while this is true for the majority, there exists an ultra-rare segment of 1991 pennies that harbor errors so unique and compelling that their value skyrockets from 1 cent to tens of thousands of dollars depending on their condition, strike, rarity, and error classification, and among the most coveted of these are the double-die obverse coins, where the doubling appears most notably on the inscriptions like Liberty or the date 1991, and in some cases, even on Lincoln's profile, creating a shadow-like doubling effect that instantly sets these coins apart under a magnifying glass. And such doubling occurs during the hubbing process, when the die strikes the coin multiple times but misaligns slightly during each strike, leading to crisp, visible doubling that trained numismatists and hobbyists eagerly seek out, because this type of error, especially in higher grades like MS65 or higher, can push auction values well into the 5-figure range. And then there's the off-center strike error, which happens when the coin blank, known as a planchette, is not properly seated in the coining press, causing the design to be struck off-center, and depending on how much of the design remains visible, especially if the date and mint mark are fully intact, such errors can command extremely high prices due to their rarity and eye appeal. And in the case of the 1991 penny, off-center errors ranging from 5% to over 75% off-center have been recorded, with the more dramatic examples fetching thousands from error collectors who appreciate the artistic, almost accidental aesthetic these coins present, and some 1991 cents have been discovered with broad strike errors, where the coin is struck outside the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin, resulting in a flattened, wider than normal appearance, often with a weak or smeared rim, and again, this anomaly makes such a coin instantly stand out in a pocketful of change, and collectors pay generously for broad-struck examples in pristine condition, while other errors that elevate the 1991 cent into rarity status include clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is literally missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press, and these clips can be straight, curved, or irregular, and when combined with legible dates and mint marks, they become especially desirable to collectors, and a particularly valuable anomaly occurs when transitional planchette errors arise, which is rare but has been rumored with some 1991 cents allegedly struck on leftover bronze planchets from pre-year 1982 rather than the post-1982 zinc planchets with a thin copper coating. And if a 1991 penny struck on a bronze planchette is confirmed by weight, specific gravity testing, or X-ray fluorescence, its value could be astronomical due to its hybrid nature, a relic of two eras captured in a single coin. And then there's the realm of wrong planchette errors, where 1991 pennies have surfaced that were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for other denominations like the dime, resulting in undersized pennies with partial designs or drastically different weights and appearances. And these extremely rare off-metal errors can skyrocket in value because they offer a compelling story of mishap and uniqueness that numismatists crave, and there are even documented cases of 1991 pennies struck on foreign coin blanks, as the US Mint occasionally produced coinage for foreign governments, and when leftover blanks mistakenly made their way into domestic penny production, the result was coins that were the wrong size, color, and composition, which makes them a dream find for those who know what to look for, and sometimes, the mistakes are in the dies themselves, known as die breaks, cuds, or die cracks, where a portion of the die breaks away or develops fractures, leaving raised lines, blobs, or even missing sections in the design of the coins it strikes, and when these breakages happen in prominent locations like across Lincoln's face or through the date, they can fetch thousands, especially if they form dramatic or easily recognizable shapes that enhance the visual intrigue. And another class of error collectors love are repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D for Denver or lack thereof from Philadelphia is punched into the die multiple times in slightly different positions, leading to shadows or duplications of the letter, which can be seen under magnification and significantly increases the desirability of a coin. And while Philadelphia mint pennies in 1991 don't carry a mint mark, any oddity in their date numerals or placement makes them suspect for misaligned die strikes or over-polishing, and sometimes the anomalies are subtle, like die polishing lines or ghosting effects where parts of Lincoln's bust show up faintly in fields of the coin due to die fatigue or excessive cleaning of dies during production, and such coins often escape detection for years until an eagle-eyed collector spots something unusual and sends it for authentication, and once authenticated by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC, the coin's pedigree is sealed and its value can leap from pocket change to small fortune status almost overnight. And let's not forget the importance of coin grading and condition. The higher the grade, the more sharply the details, the luster, and the fewer the contact marks, and even a minor error in mint state condition can be exponentially more valuable than the same error in a circulated coin. And in the case of a 1991 cent with multiple errors, say, a double die with an off-center strike and a repunched mint mark in uncirculated condition, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime specimen that collectors will bid relentlessly to acquire, and part of what drives these values into the tens of thousands is the confluence of rarity, visibility, and collector demand, and coins like this often surface at major auctions such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where bidding wars erupt over top-graded, error-laden 1991 cents, and part of the magic lies in the fact that these coins weren't intentionally rare, they were the result of accident, oversight, or machinery deviation, which lends them a mystique and story that makes them far more compelling than coins intentionally produced in low numbers, and the thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors scouring rolls of pennies, examining inherited jars of change, and checking every penny that passes through their hands, hoping to find one of these rare 1991 specimens that could turn a mundane moment into a windfall. And every tiny detail matters: weight, color, sound, thickness, diameter, And even the way the coin reflects light under magnification can be a clue to its authenticity and value, and with so many known error types, including strike-through errors where debris or grease on the die causes a part of the design to be missing or distorted, or tilted die errors that create an uneven thickness in the rim, the possibilities are endless, and the range of what constitutes value is wide because what may look like a damaged coin to the untrained eye could be a high-grade mint error worth thousands to someone who knows how to interpret it correctly, and what's more, because of the sheer number of 1991 cents still in circulation, it's entirely possible that some of these rare errors remain undiscovered, hiding in drawers, piggy banks, or even parking lot pavement waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. And this blend of potential rarity and accessibility makes the 1991 penny a legend among error collectors, a coin that bridges the gap between the ordinary and the extraordinary, and as more are graded, catalogued, and sold, the lore grows deeper, the market grows hotter, and the idea that a single cent could be worth more than a car, a year of college, or even a down payment on a home becomes more believable. And while not every 1991 penny is a treasure, the ones that are can change lives and fuel lifelong passions for collecting. And this is what makes the 1991 1-cent coin not just a piece of copper-plated zinc but a portal into a world of historical nuance, industrial craftsmanship, human error, and the unpredictable magic of chance. And so the next time you're handed change, look closely, inspect carefully,